الحمد لله الذي يجيبني حين أناديه ويستر علي كل عورة وأنا أعصيه ويعظم النعمة علي فلا أجازيه وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا صلى الله عليه وآله عبده ورسوله وأشهد أن أهل بيته المعصومين حجج الحق على الخلق أجمعين وأبرأ إلى الله من أعدائهم من الأولين والآخرين. اللهم أنطقني بالهدى وألهمني التقوى ووفقني للتي هي أزكى. اللهم أخرجنا من ظلمات الوهم وأكرمنا بنور الفهم وافتح علينا أبواب رحمتك وانشر علينا خزائن علومك برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. وصل اللهم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين. عباد الله أوصيكم ونفسي بتقوى الله ولزوم أمره. Servants of Allah, I remind myself, remind you all to be conscious of Allah, to be submissive to His commands and to His prohibitions, to know that to Allah we belong and to Him we shall return. We continue to highlight stations from the life of Ibrahim, peace and blessings be upon him and his progeny, and may the peace and blessings be upon our Prophet and his progeny. In these stations, as we have mentioned, we will be highlighting them and continue to highlight them in accordance with the Holy Quran. We have left where Ibrahim alayhi salam had left his wife Hajar and his infant Ismail in the land of Mecca, which was not yet a city. It was a land, and as we've mentioned, a land that lacked water, lacked plants, and lacked resources. Ibrahim then returned to the Holy Land of Palestine, continued to propagate his mission, his message of Tawheed, and between time and time, he would come back to check on his wife Hajar and son Ismail. 13 years later, when Ismail has entered into the stage of adulthood, he received, Ibrahim alayhi salam, a very special revelation in a dream. And I'd like to highlight here the difference between dreams that are received by prophets, messengers, and divinely appointed successors, and between ordinary people like us. Dreams for the people who have a special channel of connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, such as prophets, messengers, imams, salamullahi alayhim ajma'een. These dreams are one of the channels of revelation, and they're not just dreams. Their dreams resemble and represent the actual truths that have been revealed to them by Allah. Sometimes Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would reveal His revelation and the truth to His servants, His divinely appointed and chosen servants, via a malak, via sending a messenger, which is the angel, for example, Jibreel alayhi salam, or via revealing a sound like that which was revealed to Musa alayhi salam, or even inspiring the idea or the thought in their heart, or by seeing it in a dream. So their dreams are absolutely revelation, and they're absolutely a representation of the truth and nothing less than that. As for our dreams as humans, our dreams are most of the time, they are not a resemblance of reality or resemblance of something that is true. They do not entail a command, they do not entail a prohibition. They do not establish for us a belief or an idea or any sort of truth. Most of the time, these dreams are basically an example of confused or blurred nightmares that are a result of our psychological states, a result of what we have ate, a result of our thoughts, a result of many other things. But it's not an actual representation of haqiqah, the truth. Hence, Islamically speaking and jurisprudentially speaking specifically, we are not permitted to act according to our dreams. I cannot say that so-and-so is a adil, I can pray behind them. Why? Because I saw that in a dream. And I can't say so-and-so is not a adil, I cannot pray behind them because I saw that in a dream. Or I cannot say so-and-so I will marry my daughter to, not that I asked about the, no, because I saw in a dream that this suitor is a good suitor. All this is not binding. All this is not information that can be relied on. Sometimes you think about something so much that you end up seeing it in your dream the way you thought of it. When you like something so much, you're going to see it in a good, in a good image, in a good appearance in your dream. So dreams cannot be relied on. But here we're not talking about just a dream or a nightmare. Here we're talking about a revelation that was revealed to Ibrahim alayhi salam via a dream. Now, what was the revelation? قال تعالى أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قال يا بني عليكم السلام قال يا بني إني أرى في المنام أني أذبحك فانظر ماذا ترى. O my son. Now he says bunayya. Bunay is my son, but bunayya is when you want to show love with just saying, not just saying my son, but bunayya has that sense of fatherlyhood with it, as if in English we say my dear son. Bunay is my son, but bunayya has this, not just my son, bunayya, as if it's like you are very close to me. So here, my dear son, bunayya, and again we're talking about Ismail, who is now 13 years old. He has entered the stage of adulthood. قال يا بني إني أرى في المنام. I see in my dream, عليكم السلام, that I sacrifice you. So, what do you think? Now, one of the things that we have to keep in mind, based on the inspiration of this holy verse, is that by the time a child reaches the age of adulthood, they should have now been trained to make the right decisions on their own. And they do not need to be compelled or forced to abide by the divine commands and prohibitions. Hence, we see that Ibrahim here has dealt with Ismail as an adult. He says to him, I see in my dream that I sacrifice you, meaning I receive a command from the heavens that I need to sacrifice you. That's what he's saying to him. But he doesn't say, get ready. He doesn't say, we're going to do this right now or tomorrow. He doesn't say, don't you dare say no. No, he says, فَانظُرْ مَاذَا تَرَى. Think about it. Let me know what you think. And this really teaches us, alaykum salam, the importance of having dialogue with our children, especially at that age. You know, when your child's 5 years old, 6 years old, 8 years old, 9 years old, you tell them, do and don't. You're in the process of raising them. But once they enter into that stage, when they are 13 and 14, and now they are an adult, they no longer appreciate just do and don't. They want you to convince them, persuade them, explain to them. Hence here Ibrahim teaches us, فَانظُرْ مَاذَا تَرَى. Even though the command is clearly a divine command, but Ibrahim still wants to allow Ismail to be part of that decision in terms of allowing his father to execute the command. Now, what did Ismail, respond to this divine command that was reported to him, conveyed to him by his father? His father obviously says, قال يا بني إني أرى في المنام أني أذبحك فانظر ماذا ترى. He gave him space to think, to be ready to say yes to this very important obligation, which is not easy. And here, Ismail is going to respond in a very, very unique way. Before I mention the response of Ismail, I want us to get a general idea of who raised Ismail. And this is where you see these traits of submission that are so clear in the story of Ismail alayhi salam and his father Ibrahim. You see this very sincere and utmost level of submission in a child who has just ended the age of a childhood and just entered into adulthood. Ismail alayhi salam, 13 years old. But as you're going to see in his answer, there is a very high level of submission. Where did he get this submission from? Number one, the mother, Hajar alayhi salam. Hajar, when she was first left with that infant, she had a very high level of submission to allow Ibrahim to leave her in such a state and rely solely on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Hajar witnessed a miracle in front of her, which added her certainty or increased her certainty in Allah and reliance on Allah. Hence, she delivered this energy and these vibes of submission to her child. Now, first through suckling, there's a lot of traits that a child receives from their mother through suckling. Now, she gave him, of course, rada'ah, suckling, for up to 2 years, as we know. And then she began to train him patience, train him to be steadfast, train him to be submissive to Allah, train him to be reliant on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and under the guidance of his father, the chief of those who submits, Ibrahim, during his time, alayhi salam, the one who has done all that it takes just to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and one who had no doubt in the hikmah of Allah when Allah was commanding him. And again, that test of commanding him to keep his infant and wife in a place that had no water or food and leave them, that is a great test that he was put under. But his submission was the key behind success in passing the test. So what did Ismail say to his father? This is what I will highlight inshallah in the next sermon. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم صل على محمد المصطفى وعلى علي المرتضى وعلى الصديقة الطاهرة فاطمة الزهراء وعلى سبطي الرحمة وإمامي الهدى الحسن والحسين وعلى التسعة من ذرية الحسين أئمة المسلمين علي السجاد ومحمد الباقر وجعفر الصادق وموسى الكاظم وعلي الرضا ومحمد الجواد وعلي الهادي والحسن العسكري والحجة الخلف القائم المهدي اللهم صل وسلم وبارك عليهم صلاة كثيرة دائمة. Ismail receives the news from his father. Son, I see in my dream that I sacrifice you. So what do you think? Ismail does not say, but why, O father? He doesn't say that. Because that's the first response, which is a rational response, and there's no problem in it. But still, Ismail does not make that response. As if it's in his very nature, by the discipline and this cultivation of divine reliance and submission, his reaction and response naturally came from the bottom of his heart, and that stemmed from his very submission to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he didn't say why, although it would have been an issue and it would have been haram to ask his father, why should I be slaughtered? And he didn't say, Father, go ahead and slaughter me. Not even that. There's another way to say it. And he didn't say, Father, do as you wish, because he knows that's not the wish of his father. But what did he say? He says, قال يا أبت افعل ما تؤمر ستجدني إن شاء الله من الصابرين. He says, oh my father, do as you are commanded. The key is that I understand this is not you making this. This is a divine command, because I know you, my father Ibrahim. When you said ara fil manam, I know this is not just an ordinary dream. This is revelation. You're telling me that Allah is commanding you to do this, and I'm telling you, Father, I don't need to think about this. Do as you are commanded, because this is the command of Allah, and you have taught me that I must be submissive to the commands of Allah. I don't have a say when it comes to Allah's commands. Ya abati. Now abati here also has this, again, this sense of love in it. Ya abati, my daddy, as we say, right? Not just my father, my daddy in this respect. Ya abati, if'al ma tu'mar. Do as you are commanded. But do you think that when you do this, it is going to be easy? Indeed, it's not going to be easy for me. But insha'Allah, I have trust that Allah will give me patience. So even the patience that I will be observing, O Father, is not going to be my very own patience. It's patience that I will receive from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Hence he uses the word insha'Allah. And insha'Allah is very integral and essential in our ideology as Muslims. In fact, we have a verse that alludes to this, that we should not say about anything that we wish to do that we will do it without insha'Allah. Why? Because we don't know. Circumstances could change. And in the end, we are all under the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How many plans have you made and you thought they're going to go as you have planned, but everything ends up changing? So we have to say insha'Allah. That way we are fully submissive to His commands. He says, قَالَ يَا أَبَتِ إِفْعَلْ مَا تُؤْمَرْ سَتَجِدُنِي إِنْ شَاءَ اللَّهُ مِنَ الصَّابِرِينَ. O my Father, do as you are commanded, you will find me, if Allah wills, insha'Allah, of the sabirin, of the steadfast. And here, I'd like to allude to a very important point. Oftentimes when our children reach adulthood, they reach the age of bulugh, we expect them to now begin to abide by divine regulations and rulings. Do, don't. Observe your salah on time. Why are you not observing your salah on time? Why is your hijab not correct? Why is this not the case? Do this. Don't ask why. Allah said so. You need to do this. And then we find rebellious behavior. We find resistance from these children. And then we begin to wonder why. One of the reasons behind that, my dears, is that we have not taught them patience from a young age. To fulfill your religious obligations, you need sabr. سَتَجِدُنِي إِنْ شَاءَ اللَّهُ مِنَ الصَّابِرِينَ. You need sabr. Because not every obligation is an easy thing to do. It's not a button that you press and you fulfilled it. You have to wake up in the morning for Fajr. That's not an easy thing, especially for a child. Somebody has been used to sleeping until whenever they wake up. They have been used to, for example, getting everything they want. Whatever the child wants. I want this, here you go. I want this, here you go. Indirectly, what are we doing to the child? We are telling them that whatever your nafs wishes for, you just say yes to it. And this is where a child becomes very weak in terms of their willpower. Because they have never said to themselves no, because their parents are always giving them what they want. Whatever the nafs wants, here you go. Nafs wants, here you go. Now all of a sudden I wake up in the morning and I'm 13 years old and I have to abide by divine obligations, and a lot of times they conflict with my nafs and my desires. Of course I'm not going to pass the test. سَتَجِدُنِي إِنْ شَاءَ اللَّهُ مِنَ الصَّابِرِينَ. Why? I have been trained, O Father. This is Ismail. I've been trained by the will of Allah. I am a sabir. I am patient. Why? I have been under your guidance and my mother's training and upbringing all these years. And we've learned sabr. And therefore we will, and I will, abide by this command. As hard as it is. And this is what we need to teach our children, my dears. From a very young age, submission is key. At that point, when they grow up and become adults, and certain rulings do not appeal to them, they would understand why they need to fulfill them, although they are not appealing. Is it really appealing to be beheaded by your own father? Of course it's not. Absolutely something that no one would accept and no one would like. But here Ismail is saying, if this is a divine command, that's it. It doesn't matter what I like and what I don't like. And this teaches us, my dears, not just us, our children, all mu'mineen and mu'minat, we need to cultivate that sense of submission in order to adhere to divine commands and divine prohibitions. We will inshallah continue to highlight this very important incident and station from the life of Ibrahim and Ismail alayhi salam next week. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم. اللهم اغفر للمؤمنين والمؤمنات الأحياء منهم والأموات. تابع بيننا وبينهم بالخيرات. إنك قاضي الحاجات مجيب الدعوات بحق سيدنا ونبينا محمد عليه وعلى آله أفضل الصلوات. أحسنت. Thank you very much. أحسنت.